Toss-up 1. This planet's Noakis quadrangle contains many impact sites, including Asimov Crater and Hellas Planitia. This planet's Tharsis Plateau region contains one of the solar system's tallest mountains. Grayson's 2. That is correct for 10. Your bonus. Gordon Gould is often credited with having invented these devices. For 10 points each, name these devices that emit light by stimulating the emission of radiation. They are often used as pointers. That is correct. LASIK surgery is used to correct such medical conditions as myopia that affect this organ, whose parts include the cornea and iris. Thank you. That is correct. The title villain of this James Bond film answers the question, do you expect me to talk, with the line, no, I expect you to die, as he prepares to cut Bond in half with a laser. Answer, please.
No answer.
Captain?
That is Naked Stevie. Casino Royale?
Incorrect. The answer was Goldfinger. Yes. All right. Toss-up 2. This leader promoted permanent revolution in opposition to the theory of socialism in one country. In 1936, he was exiled to Mexico, where he was assassinated with an ice pick. He led the Red Army during the Russian Revolution. For 10 points, name this Bolshevik rival of Joseph Stalin. Grayson 2.
Trotsky.
That is correct for 10. Your bonus. Pencil and paper ready. For 10 points each, use trigonometric identities to convert these expressions into single sign terms whose argument is between 0 and 90 degrees. Cosine of 10 degrees.
1.
Incorrect. The
Bounce back.
Right, sorry.
20 degrees.
Could you say that again?
20 degrees.
Incorrect. They were looking for sine of 80 degrees. Okay, part B, sine of 780 degrees.
1.
Incorrect, Captain.
No.
They were looking for sine of 60 degrees. Last bonus, 2 times the sine of 35 degrees times the cosine of 35 degrees.
Sine of 80 degrees.
Incorrect, Captain.
I designate Corey. Sine of 90.
Incorrect, sine of 70. Those are strange questions. Toss-up 3. In one novel by this author, the title Stonemason gives a speech about his quest for knowledge while visiting Christminster with his wife Sue. In another novel by this man, Gabriel weds Bathsheba Everdeen. For 10 points, what author wrote Jude the Obscure and Far from the Madding Crowd? Grayson 2.
Hardy.
That is correct for 10. Your bonus. For 10 points each, give the following about failed U.S. military actions. Operation Eagle Claw was Jimmy Carter's failed attempt to rescue 52 hostages held at the U.S. Embassy in this Middle Eastern nation. Answer, please.
Afghanistan.
Incorrect. Captain?
Iraq.
Incorrect. It would be Iran. John F. Kennedy's presidency included this unsuccessful invasion of Cuba by a CIA-trained group. That is correct. In April 1942, U.S. troops were forced to surrender on this peninsula in the Philippines, which became the site of an infamous death march. Answer, please.
No answer.
Captain?
No answer.
Bataan, the Bataan Peninsula. Toss up 4. There we go. I did it once. That's a quota for this game. In Norse myth, one of these objects named Tyrfing was used by Odin's grandson. The name of the xiphoid process derives from a Greek word for one of these weapons, which names a beach. Sheldon.
Hammer.
Incorrect. For one of these weapons, which names a beach from D-Day. Scimitars are curved examples of, for 10 points, what kind of weapon that can be double-edged? Grayson B.
Sword.
Sword, sorry. For 10. Your bonus. This man's artworks, Table of Silence, and The Gate of the Kiss can be found at Targuju, his childhood home. For 10 points each, name this Romanian sculptor. please.
Smith.
Incorrect. Captain?
No answer.
Brinkush. Brinkush used rhomboid nodules to create an endless structure of this type. In ancient Greek architecture, they came in orders such as the Corinthian and Ionic.
Call.
That's correct. Brinkush also sculpted a series of artworks showing one of these animals in space. Answer, please. Incorrect. Captain?
This is a Corey. Empty space.
Incorrect. A bird.
Reset.
Toss-up 5. Pencil and paper ready. Dave needs to know the probability that he will draw a higher ranked card than his opponent. Aces are high, and his opponent has already drawn and kept a jack, so there are only 51 cards remaining. For 10 points, compute the chance of drawing a queen, king, or ace. Grayson 2.
12 over 50.
That is incorrect. Sheldon 3.
11 over 51.
That is also incorrect. They were looking for 4 over 17. Mount Cassoon, toss-up 6. Mount Cassoon overlooks this city, whose straight street is said to have been visited by St. Paul in the Acts of the Apostles. This primary capital for the Umayyad Caliphate is the seat of power for the ruling Al-Assad dynasty. For 10 points, name this capital of Syria. That is time. Damascus. Toss-up 7. This man imposed a namesake 1793 code while Governor General of India. Thomas Graves's failure to stop the Comte de Grasse led this general's forces to be trapped between the Atlantic and the Marquis de Lafayette's army. For 10 points, name this British general who surrendered at Yorktown. Grayson 3.
Cornwallis.
That's correct for 10. Okay, your bonus. The speed of light is the same in any of these systems that is inertial or not accelerating. For 10 points each, name these systems whose non-inertial counterparts exhibit fictitious forces.
Vacuum.
Incorrect.
Ideal.
Incorrect. They were looking for reference frames. A rotating non-inertial reference frame will exhibit this fictitious force named for a Frenchman. It causes hurricanes to spin in opposite directions in the northern and southern hemispheres. That's correct. A rotating frame will also exhibit this fictitious force named for its being directed away from the center of rotation. Answer?
Centrifugal.
Correct. 20 on the bonus. Toss-up 8. This man wrote that the world would have been different if Cleopatra's nose had been shorter in Pensée. This man also argued that one should bet on the existence of God as part of his namesake wager. For 10 points, identify this French philosopher who named the SI unit of pressure. Sheldon 3.
Pascal.
That's correct for 10. Your bonus. In 1969, the American Society of Civil Engineers declared Benjamin Wright to be the father of American civil engineering. For 10 points each, Wright's greatest triumph was serving as the chief engineer for this waterway that connected a namesake Great Lake to the Hudson River.
Michigan Lake.
Incorrect, Captain.
Erie Canal.
That's correct. The Erie Canal paralleled the Mohawk River in this state.
Michigan.
Incorrect, Captain.
New York.
That is correct. Wright was also chief engineer on the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal. Despite its grandiose name, it only connected coal fields in Maryland to this river that ran by Mount Vernon. Answer, please.
No answer.
Captain?
Potomac.
Correct. 0 on the bonus, 30 on the bounce back. Toss-up 9. This man's namesake conjecture concerns the packing of spheres. This author of Rudolphine tables proposed that the square of the period of an orbit is proportional to the cube of its semi-major axis. For 10 points, name the scientist who postulated 3 laws of planetary motion. Grayson 2.
Kepler.
That's correct for 10. Your bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about South American lakes. Lake Titicaca borders both Peru and this landlocked nation that is named for a South American liberator. Answer, please.
Bolivia.
Correct. Correct. Sorry. The glacial Nahuel Huapi Lake is found in this second largest nation by area in South America. Answer, please.
Argentina.
That's correct. The Catatumbo River flows into this Venezuelan lake, whose basin contains many oil reserves that have yet to be harvested.
No answer.
Sorry. Captain?
No answer.
Lake Maracaibo. So just as a note for that, if you say no answer early while I still have time, I will count down the remaining time for the other team.
Okay.
All right, toss up 10, the last of this half. This president's informal advisors were called the kitchen cabinet. He vetoed Grayson 2.
Jackson.
That is correct for power. Your bonus. This building is home to King Edward's chair, in which monarchs sit to be crowned. For 10 points each, name this London church in which such notable Britons as Lord Kelvin and Neville Chamberlain are buried.
Westminster Abbey.
That is correct. In 1296, this stone was taken from Scotland by Edward I and set up in Westminster Abbey, though it was finally returned to Scotland in the 1990s.
Limestone.
That is incorrect, Captain.
No answer.
That would be the Stone of Scone. One of the first kings to be crowned at Westminster Abbey was this Norman, who was crowned on Christmas Day in 1066 after winning the Battle of Hastings.
William the Conqueror.
That's correct. 20 on the bonus. Okay, so halftime worksheets. So teams, please notice that this time each of the questions will start with a different letter. It will no longer be A.
We didn't even notice that last time. To be honest, we just went with it.
So you will each have 2 minutes. I will tell you when there is 1 minute left and 10 seconds left. Go. One minute remaining. Ten seconds remaining. Time. Pencils down, please. which one would you like to turn
This
in?
one, of course.
Wait. If you'll give us a few seconds to wait. We will be making the half a bit faster this time because we're a bit behind schedule. So, 110 points for Grayson and 130 for Sheldon. So, if you guys wouldn't mind, can we keep these until the end?
Score right now is Sheldon with 140, Grayson with 150.
What?
So 110 for Grayson.
Okay, if you guys don't mind, let's go ahead. If there aren't any substitutions, can we go ahead and start with the second half?
There was a substitution.
Okay, thank you. You guys have your others? Yeah. Thanks. Okay. And let's get right back in with toss-up 11. I'm not sure what's happening there. Try buzzing in. Try buzzing in there. Alright, looks like we're all good. Okay. One member of this family performs a disastrous surgery on the groom Hippolyte at the investigation of the pharmacist Omei. A woman in this family kills herself with arsenic after having 2 affairs. For 10 points, Charles and Madame Emma belong to what family created by Gustave Grayson 2?
Bovary.
That is correct. Your bonus. In 1860, he led a Risorgimento campaign with about 1,000 volunteers. For 10 points each, name this Italian founding father who led the expedition of the 1,000 to unite Italy on behalf of King Victor Emmanuel II. Answer?
Smith.
Captain?
No answer.
That would be Garibaldi. Garibaldi's 1,000 volunteers were popularly known by this name because of the color of their uniforms.
Black shirts.
Incorrect, Captain.
The gray shirts.
The red shirts. The expedition of the 1,000 targeted this kingdom in southern Italy held by the Bourbons. It was founded in 1816 by the union of the Kingdom of Naples with another kingdom to the south. Answer, please.
Milan.
Captain?
Nepal.
The Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. No. Yeah. Right. Okay. Toss-up 12. This term describes a diverging series defined as the sum from n equals 1 to infinity of 1 over n. The restoring force is proportional to the displacement for a simple system undergoing this type of motion. A mass on a spring is an example of, for 10 points, what type of oscillator? That's time. It would be a harmonic oscillator. Toss-up 13. This ethnic group was organized into the 8 banners and controlled the medieval Jin dynasty. This group's Goro clan took over China in 1644 as the Qing dynasty. For 10 points, name this ethnic group whose homeland is now on the northeastern portion of China. Grayson 2.
Mongols.
Incorrect. That's time. It's the Manchus or the Jurchen. Toss-up 14. This color appears in the title of a 1987 James Ellroy novel about the murder of an LA woman nicknamed the Dahlia. The narrator of an 1843 story hangs a pet of this color named Pluto. For 10 points, what? Grayson 3.
Black.
That's correct. Just out of power, so 10. Your bonus. This exhibition was primarily responsible for introducing Americans to modern European art movements. For 10 points each, give the common name for this 1913 International Exhibition of Modern Art held in a National Guard facility.
The Big Art Gallery.
Incorrect, Captain.
No answer.
It would be the Armory Show. The Armory Show began in this U.S. city, whose current art museums include the Met and the MoMA.
New York City.
That is correct. The exhibition then moved to this museum on Michigan Avenue in Chicago. Answer, please.
Chicago Museum of Art.
Incorrect,
The
Captain.
Art Institute of Chicago.
That is correct. 10 on the bonus, 10 on the bounce back. Yeah, okay. Toss up 15. I'm doing well for a bit. This city was home to the headquarters of the VOC, considered the world's first multinational corporation, and home to the world's first stock exchange. It is most populous in a region called the Randstad. The Rijksmuseum is in, for 10 points, what capital of the Netherlands? Sheldon, 4.
Amsterdam.
That's correct, for 10. Your bonus. Nopales are edible examples of these plants. For 10 points each, name these plants, such as saguaro, that can live in very dry climates.
Cactus.
That's correct. Cacti often use a type of metabolism called chem, in which these pores on the plant's leaves and stems open only at night to conserve water.
Yeah, gotcha.
Answer, please.
No answer.
Captain?
Soma.
That is correct. Some cacti fall into this category of plants that live on another plant but do not harm it or draw resources from it, and instead absorbing nutrients and water from the air and from nearby organic debris.
Pots.
That's correct. 20 on the bonus, 10 on the bounce back. Toss-up 16. These events claimed the lives of Georgia Governor Button Gwinnett and Stephen Decatur. In 1804,
Do you have your score sheet from last round? Oh, you did? Okay, cool, thanks.
I'll start from the beginning of that sentence. In 1804, David Hossack tended to the victim of one of them involving the vice president, Sheldon 2.
Assassination.
Incorrect. Involving the vice president and a former treasury secretary. Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton in, for 10 points, what combat? Grayson 1.
Duel.
That is correct, for 10. Your bonus. English mountaineer George Mallory died while attempting to summit this mountain. For 10 points each, name this Himalayan peak that was first climbed by a 1953 expedition that included Tenzing Norgay.
Mount Everest.
That is correct. Norgay accompanied this New Zealand-born philanthropist to the summit of Everest.
McDonald.
Incorrect, Captain.
No answer.
That would be Sir Edmund Percival Hillary. In 1958, Hillary led a team of New Zealanders who became the third expedition ever to reach this geographic superlative. Answer, please.
South Pole.
Yeah, okay. That is correct. So, 20 on the bonus.
Well, we should have just said.
Toss-up 17. The study of
Yes, I already said that.
Yeah, I know. The study of one of these organisms led to the formulation of the one gene, one enzyme hypothesis by Beadle and Tatum. Sheldon 3.
Bacteria.
Incorrect. The production of most breads requires fermentation by a member of this taxonomic group. For 10 points, name this group that includes yeasts and mushrooms. Grayson 2.
Fungi.
Correct for 10. Okay. Your bonus. After hearing the story narrated by this work's title character, a wedding guest becomes a sadder and wiser man for 10 points each. Name this poem published in Lyrical Ballads that describes a bearded man with a glittering eye. Answer, please. Captain.
No answer.
The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner was written by this author who addressed his son Heartflee in the poem Frost at Midnight.
Coleridge.
That's correct. Sailors placed the corpse of one of these birds around the ancient mariner's neck after its death brings bad fortune.
Albatross.
That's correct. 1D on the bonus, yes. Toss up 8. Toss up 18. This man's Opus 1, published in 1705, is a set of a dozen trio sonatas ending with the variations on La Folia. This composer's The Contest Between Harmony and Invention begins with 4 concerti depicting the year. For 10 points, what composer known as the Red Priest wrote Grayson 1?
Vivaldi.
That is correct for 10. Your bonus. During World War II, Franklin Roosevelt used this word to describe positions for coordinating shipping and synthetic rubber. For 10 points each, give this informal name, taken from the Russian language, for a person appointed to give policy advice on a particular area. Answer, please.
Cossack.
Incorrect, Captain.
Counselor.
Incorrect. It would be SAR. SARs typically work within this branch of the federal government, which was created by Article 2 of the Constitution.
Executive.
That's correct. Harry J. Anslinger was the first man appointed to be czar for settling federal law enforcement policy regarding these substances. Richard Nixon declared a war on them in 1971.
So I'm thinking.
Drugs.
That is correct. 20 on the bonus. Toss up 19. In 2009, Cyprus failed to block this nation's entrance into negotiations with the European Union. Its Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan has come under scrutiny for human rights violations. For 10 points, name this country where a 2015 suicide bombing targeted protesters in Ankara. Oh boy. Sheldon 3.
Syria.
Incorrect. Grayson 1.
Iraq.
That is incorrect. It would be Turkey. Toss-up 20, the last. This poem describes ditties of no tone after commenting, heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. A foster child of silence and slow time is addressed in this poem that claims beauty is truth, truth beauty. For 10 points, name this John Keats poem about a Hellenic face. That's time. Ode on a Grecian urn. And that's the match. Any final score?
Grayson 425, Sheldon 180.
Bedroom number